What is up, guys? Welcome back to yet again another Cool Front video. And what are we doing today? Well, actually something a little different than normal. Instead of your normal Lord of the Rings video, today we have Lord of the Rings news. News on what, Cool Front? Nothing's coming new with Lord of the Rings. We've gone through our 6 movies. That's about it. They may make an adaptation of something else here in later years to come, but it's about done. I mean, what, a new game, new Shadow of Mordor? No. Today we have an amazing announcement. Because for a while there were talks about Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon all bidding for a deal with Tolkien Estate Trust for a TV series adaptation of the Lord of the Rings Middle-earth world. Now, a lot of this had been all skepticization and all that, because if we look here at this article I have, it was said to be close of 250 million, or anywhere from 200 to 250 million range. But actually, it says that now Amazon has struck a deal for Lord of the Rings TV series with a multi-season commitment. That's right, guys. We almost 80%, 90%, almost 100% positive that we will be receiving, a multi-season commitment to a Lord of the Rings series. How awesome is that? And it's said to be on the scale of Game of Thrones. Now, that could be good news and that could be bad news, because Amazon is at the head of this, guys. Because if we look at 2 of their other TV series that have been kind of on the scale of a Lord of the Rings, I'm not sorry, not Lord of the Rings, but a TV long-running series scale, like what they tried to do. They got good reviews, 190%, but then again, that's not saying much for how well the series did itself. And again, have you guys ever heard of the shows called Transparent or Catastrophe? Neither have I, and that's exactly why. Because we won't hear about them, because they weren't good TV shows, and they didn't catch on. And that obviously means that there wasn't no fault in the story or anything, but on how the TV show was made. So I hope to God that they try and do a little better with this than they did with those 2 shows. If we look here, it says that it wants to get away here from the shows such as Transparent and Catastrophe and all that stuff. They're saying they want to make a new, much like, it says right here, much like HBO's new popular fantasy series, Game of Thrones. They want to make it more like that. And if they do go by that, I will be ecstatic. Now, somebody asked me, do you want it to be made like Game of Thrones, though? Because, if we look at that, do you want it to be as gory and as much nudity? Well, yes and no. Yes, because Game of Thrones followed the books pretty well, actually, for the first couple seasons, before, of course, they went beyond the books. Come on, J.R.R. Martin, get them books out there. Anyways, it followed the books pretty darn well for when it was running and before it surpassed the books, obviously. And then 2, because that formula works. What I want more than anything is I want an accurate and just good damn Lord of the Rings movie and series that, again, it stays 100% true to the books. I don't care if they do their little things, but as long as they stay 100% true to the books, I am a-okay with it. And that I feel like if they make it like Lord of the Rings or make it more like Game of Thrones, it will be more true to the books and will be interesting and catching enough in terms of which they make it, that it will catch on and will become popular. Lord of the Rings will boom, and that's what I want for Lord of the Rings. I want it to get the credit it deserves, because I feel like not enough people love Lord of the Rings, and everybody should love Lord of the Rings. But you're probably saying, Colefront, how the hell is this possible? There's been talks about this throughout history, since the beginning of man, about, new things coming out for Lord of the Rings, but them just not being able to strike a deal with the Tolkien estate. Because, again, how outrageously expensive it is and how strict they are with it. Well, here's the reason why. And I actually did not know this fact, but J.R.R. Tolkien's son has resigned as the director of Tolkien estate, ending decades of tightly controlled adaptations. If we look here, the 93-year-old Christopher Tolkien officially retired from the Tolkien estate on August 31st of this year. And I guess a hint to that departure was the release of Baron Luthien. I didn't know that. Obviously, it's a good thing you should get it. But apparently that was like his last shebang with the Tolkien estate, was the release of the subtale of Baron Luthien in the first age. So with this release, I mean, that means that's why this was possible. So that further confirms what we might be getting and what might come to head. Now, if you look back here at this other Amazon article, it said that it talks about how there are a lot of other stories unexplored by the movies and how Amazon will delve into some of the Tolkien's work that the movies did not explore. Now, it's also said that Amazon is committed to a super high quality, recognized branded entertainment, and that it will departure itself from shows such as Transparent and Catastrophe. Excuse me. And they said by definition this will be expansive. And we take a quick look back over here. It's saying that basically that the Amazon were delighted that we got quotes from Matt Glazor saying that we're delighted that Amazon, with this long-standing commitment to literature, is home to the first ever multi-season, look at that, guys, television series for Lord of the Rings. I mean, this is huge, guys. I cannot get over how huge this is. And I mean, of course, it's coming after all of how much the Tolkien estate has been through with all the suing and stuff like that they've had with many other companies having like their characters and stuff on slot machines and things like that. I mean, Tolkien estate sues everybody for everything apparently, and is always very strict with the rights. Again, that it's going to loosen up now. It seems like with the loss of J.R.R. Tolkien's head of the estate, as the head of the estate. But if we look at, say this is all possible, say this is all going to happen the way we want it, what will be set on, what will it be? And now my skepticisms are massive with this, but I think I've narrowed it down to what we're going to see, and this is almost positive. But getting to one of the biggest points here is, when is this going to happen also? So we look at when it's going to happen. It's obviously meant to replace Game of Thrones. It 100% will replace Game of Thrones, and that's Amazon's stick at this. We've seen Game of Thrones pop up many times in these articles I'm showing you here, because I mean that's the #1 TV show. Though they want to have their Game of Thrones to boost their, TV net worth and obviously the company's revenue and popularity, which has been sinking a little bit on their movie TV side as of recently. So I do not think, again, that they will pump this out while Game of Thrones is still running. So if we look at when Game of Thrones is going to end, that's the biggest part when we think we're going to see this. It's in this article here of when Game of Thrones Season 8 is returning. It's most likely to return in either late 2018 or early 2019, and no sooner or no later. That's the best guess right there. Late 2018, early 2019. So we're going to have to wait a year, or even, well, at the least a year. At the very least a year, year and a half, until we see any actual production of this TV show. So we look at it in a way that makes sense. I have talked to many people on my Discord about this, that if they are to make this and dwell into things that the movies didn't explore, then what we're going to see, this and that. This is simple. This is a simple fact that I think they will 100% follow. The rings. They're going to follow the story of the rings no matter what, because they want to draw in the audience that captivated Lord of the Rings when the movies were out. And the movies captivated most everybody, which is good enough, but they forget about it. They don't know about the expensive lore and all that, and they're not going to give them content that the fans aren't used to. And if they aren't given something or they're getting something that's too hard from the concept, like the stories of the Valar and all that, they're not gonna grasp onto it. It's not gonna be as catchy as something like Game of Thrones, which is pretty easy to understand. People die. That's pretty much all Game of Thrones is. So they're definitely going to follow the story of the ring. But what is untouched or not covered by the movies with Lord of the Rings, or following the story of the ring? What did the movies not touch? Well, the movies didn't touch it a lot, such as the Northern Theater in the War of the Rings, of course, with the Battle of Lothlorien, the Battle of Dale, and of course the Siege of Erebor, and then the Siege of Mirkwood, and then so many things that they did not cover in the Northern Theater, and also before the Third Age with the rings, such as they could probably most likely cover more of the details around the Battle of the Last Alliance that took many years to happen, so they have plenty of room with that. They can also go back to Celebrimbor and the making of the ring, but I think that would be as far back as I could go. So anywhere between that and the destruction of the ring, I think we have leeway for. What do I think will most likely be in the TV series? I think the Northern Theater will be. I think that's going to be what we mainly focus on. An elf or a human from Dale or something like that we follow from the Northern Theater, because that is something that the fans are kind of used to. We've seen Mirkwood, we've seen Lothlorien, and we've seen Dale, we've seen all that. And I think that's something they don't really need to do a lot of design, and they have a lot of things to go off of. If they go off that, no fan can be mad at them because it's already been created perfect for them. I think that's something we might see. And then, of course, the Shadow of War series and Shadow of Mordor are covering the story of Celebrimbor, and they're making other rings. So I think it's another thing they could um, cover. But again, we don't know. But that's my skepticism. Most likely the Northern Theater or the making of the rings. And or in between that, I mean, we had the crossing of Poros, the Battle of Celebrant, the Field of Celebrant. I mean, the endless sieges from the Wayne Riders, and the Harad coming up north. We have plenty of battles that happen, of course, early Third Age, but or even late Second Age. But again, there's no way that they could probably get off with some of those, or some of those key battles, because again, the audience isn't used to it. They're going to give something the audience is used to. So again, my speculation is coming back and tying this all in will either be the creation of the rings, the Battle of Lost Alliance era, or the Northern Theater during the War of the Third Age. And leaving off on that, guys, um, regardless, this is a step ahead. This is a good step towards the right direction towards a TV show that's centered around high quality and staying true to the literature of Tolkien, which Amazon says it's going to. We saw the quote there. Amazon has proven it before. Game of Thrones has proven it. They do stick to the books, so that's good. And in the end, we got more Lord of the Rings content. That's always a good thing. So if you like this little news video that I tried to do my best on, I'm sure I was all over the place. Go ahead, give it a like, comment, subscribe. If not, um, goodbye. Anyways, um, yeah, so basically more Lord of the Rings content to come, but in the end, we got more Lord of the Rings content now and to come, so that's always a good thing. I need to stop talking. Goodbye, guys.